However, not every sports fan or fan of every sport is all that optimistic lately. What's going on in our horse racing industry in this province is confusing. It's confounding, and clearly there's a lot I still don't get because it baffles me that a plan that was making money would be canceled, a plan that was actually feeding an industry would be canceled. But that's well, I don't know where it's going to go now. But all industry stakeholders, when it comes to the future of horse racing industry, are going to be gathering later today in St. Jacobs. There is a all-hands-on-deck meeting, a horse racing round table, which has been organized by the NDP, Catherine Fife, along with Taras Natyshak, who is the MPP for Essex and the NDP's critic for Labour, Community Safety and Correctional Services. But Taras and I have talked before about this, and I'm still baffled. Taras, has the bafflement subsided in your head, or have you figured out where we're going with this?
Well, good morning, Gary. I think I figured it out.
Okay. So
when nothing else makes sense, follow the money. That's the old adage. And so over the last year, I've done that. At the beginning of this debacle, I actually bought into the line that it was about recovering $345 million that was encompassed in the Slots at Racetrack program. It is not about that. It was never about transparency of the SARP program or accountability. Those were always infused into the program. They were always public for public purview. You could see what money went into SARP and where it went. Now with the deals that they're striking with various horse tracks, they are all private. We can't see them. We'll never know probably what the terms of the agreements are, and that just blows their argument out of the water. But when I say I think I figured it out, this isn't about SARP, and it never was. It is wholly and solely and always will be about market share. And if you look at how successful SARP was and the horse racing industry was, it's a $1 billion industry that delivered $1 billion to the government and generated about $2 billion in economic spinoff. That is a big chunk of the gaming pie. And with the expansion that the OLG is currently embarked on, expansion of private casinos around the province, those big, heavy players in the private casino industry want that pie. They want the entire thing. They're not going to come in unless they can get at those discretionary dollars. And the OLG is being sanctioned by the government to make way for those private casinos to come in and eat that market share up. That's it. It's business. It's just the tragedies of business, and that's what's happening to the horse people. They're being cannibalized for the sake of private casinos.
Is this any different than when we saw a lot of traditional factories closed, a lot of good-paying jobs gone by the wayside because, well, quote, that's just the way it is?
It's a little bit different, yeah. I mean, because those jobs typically went to lower wage jurisdictions in Mexico and China and areas where those corporations could just offshore them. So it's different in that sense, but. In terms of business, I mean, competition is great, but ultimately all business wants to do is eventually monopolize the market. They want to have as much market share as possible. So if MGM or Caesars or Donald Trump can come in and own and operate, the majority of the market, well, then they win, right? So that's what's happening. They're doing that at the expense of the traditional industry, those industries that actually have jobs attached to them. These aren't just slot machines. There's one-armed bandits that pump out or pump in money. These are real people that have real jobs that contribute to the real economy, and that's why I'm so adamant that this industry has to be protected. Because, again, this is it's a part of the fabric of rural Ontario. These are good-paying jobs and real people, and they're being thrown under the bus by the Liberal government.
Well, we have actually talked to a number of farmers on the show, breeders, the Horse Racing Association, people that provide the feed, veterinarians. I've tried to get everybody's perspective on the table on this one, Taras, and I'm unmoved. I'm unmoved. My opinion hasn't changed one bit. I think canceling the slots at tracks was a dumb idea. Nothing I've heard has changed my mind.
Me neither. That's why I introduced a motion last Thursday that called on the government to. It had 4 different parts to it, Gary. The first part was to stop the expansion of private casinos in the province. and put a referendum pending new casinos, so communities would actually have to vote on them if they wanted them or not. So that gives the horse racing industry a little bit of a buffer there because it would put a pause on it. The second one is the immediate reinstatement of the Slots at Racetrack program until we can come to an agreement with the horse racing industry and the horse people, right? Not just the track owners and the OLG, the actual people that run the races and do the work that you just previously mentioned. They would admit that the SARP program could have been refined. It could have had some benchmarks in it in terms of consumer satisfaction or customer service and different marketing values into it too as well. That could have all been done within the context of the original Slots at Racetrack program. They do it all the time. We tweak programs all the time, and that's not a big deal. But again, this was never about SARP. It was about eliminating the competition, and the Liberals have obviously shown us how to go about doing that. You just blow the thing up and let the chips fall where they may, and again, the big private casinos are going to be the ones that make out here for sure.
In fact, we're going to talk about private casinos later on in the show. Explain to me what's on the agenda today, Taras.
Well, today will be an opportunity for me and my colleague Catherine Fife to get some more information from folks who are, I guess, feeling the ramifications post SARP cancellation and what their plans are. Also to find out what they want us to do and where they want us to focus our attention. Do they want us to try to get this government to turn their direction around as we have been doing, or have they given up all hope? So it's about collecting more information. It's about delivering some more information too as well, and coming together with what I think they could add to the conversation, which is what their industry looks like and how they move forward. So. This is what I've done throughout, being on this file, is talking to the horsemen and finding out what they feel and what their challenges are, and bringing it to the legislature. That's the process, and it's informed me tremendously. And I think Gary, I'm on the right path here because we've gotten a lot of good feedback from the industry.
Well. Do you think this is a fait accompli? Do you think there's any way this program is going to come back? Do you think there's going to be ever any subsidies for the horse racing industry, or are they going to be left to their own devices?
Okay, well, so SARP was never a subsidy, right? Because I never saw it on a provincial line item budget, so that would be a subsidy. Now these transitional funds are guaranteed to be subsidies, so whatever dollar value they put into the agreements are coming out of the province's, the public's money. Previously, through SARP, that was discretionary income that came through the slot machine. So that I never saw that money. It was never really mine. It never came through the provincial coffers. So do I think that there's going to be some? Well, I think that the government is facing an incredible amount of embarrassment in terms of this playing out and the jobs being lost and the economic the detriment to the rural economy that it's already played. I hope that they see the error of their ways. But at this point, they have not indicated anything. I have more questions than answers. I don't know what's going to replace SARP. They've floated some trial balloons, but none of them have been etched in stone yet, and the questions continue.
Well, listen, good luck this afternoon. We'll stay in touch because this is a file that I don't want to lose track of.
Gary,
either.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you always staying on this thing, and I'm available whenever you want me.
All right, take care.
Take care, Gary.
Bye-bye. Taras Natyshak, who is the MPP for Essex, the NDP critic for Labour, Community Safety, Correctional Services. He's gathering industry stakeholders, him along with Catherine Fife. It's an NDP initiative. They'll be in St. Jacobs today to have this conversation this afternoon, just to bring the NDP up to date on how it's working for industry post-SARP. So is he right? Do you think Taras is right? Was this all a setup? Did this have nothing to do with SARP, but did it have everything to do with the introduction of private casinos and the elimination of competition? Is that what this is about? Is it about the bottom line and not an entire industry? Now, I don't want to suggest that everybody in the horse racing industry is going to lose his or her relevance, but I think it's pretty clear it's not going to be easy. We'll take your calls in a minute. This is 570 News.
SARP was never a subsidy, right? Because I never saw it on a provincial line item budget. Now these transitional funds are guaranteed to be subsidies. So whatever dollar value they put into the agreements are coming out of the province's, the public's money. Previously, through SARP, that was discretionary income that came through the slot machine. So that I never saw that money.
So is this all about private casinos? We are going to talk about private casinos later on in the show as well. Because I still say eliminating SARP was a dumb idea. Nothing I've heard has changed my mind. What do you think? What do you think of the horse racing industry in this province? If it's strong enough to stand on its own, do we care? But if a portion of the money from SARP was going to subsidiary industries and approximately 60,000 paychecks, why was it eliminated?